Now, the inherent racism of the royal family, I think, is just really obvious for everybody to see. Like the way that not only the press has treated Meghan Markle, but actually, like, we know from what's been discussed about, like, the way that the royals have thrown specific people under the bus and things like that, that it's not just a question, to my mind, of whether, like, you can make it more diverse in terms of, like, you know, marrying people like Meghan Markle or whatever it is, but actually, like, the institution itself is endemically racist.
But I feel like there was a lot of different cultures in the church as well. You know, they had those like soul singers as well and stuff like that. Yeah. I know that's not directly in the royal family, but I think it was a diverse day. But yeah, married into the family, obviously there's not a lot of...
Do you think it's unreasonable that the royal family, the royal family of, like, this country is mostly white? I mean, it's just a thing, isn't it?
I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it would be... I mean, I don't know, it's hard to tell because obviously Meghan wasn't accepted by them, so maybe it would put other royals off in the future by having someone of a different ethnic background. I'm not sure.
I really don't have any thoughts about it. I don't really care about that. I mean, I'm an American. The whole idea of a royal family is kind of outdated, but I mean, they were there for like, what, 1,000 years now?
Yeah. Well, it's genetics, really. That's the best I can say about it.
Do you think it's an odd thing for people to be focusing on the day of the coronation and stuff?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, well, it's the genetics of the royal family. That's all I can say.
I get the impression you think it's laughable that people might be a bit concerned.
Yeah, it's silly. It's silly.
There's something profoundly unsettling about watching a man with a microphone wander the streets of Britain, smiling thinly, holding up a camera and asking strangers a question that echoes through centuries of empire and exclusion. Is the royal family too white? And that's exactly what Patrick Christys did, not behind a GB news desk surrounded by nodding heads and performative outrage. He went out into the streets, right up to the people, expecting, perhaps hoping, for confirmation that the monarchy is beyond reproach, that the pageantry still blinds us, that the crown still shields itself with reverence. But what he got was something darker, something more honest than even he anticipated. One person, calm as the morning, turned to him and said, "It's just genetic. No hesitation, no blink. Just those 3 words, flat, final, and damning. As if to say, this is how it's always been. This is how it must remain." A shrug dressed up as truth. And in that one moment, Britain's polite mask slipped. That moment should have stopped the segment cold. It should have triggered alarm bells across every newsroom in the country. Editors should have slammed their laptops shut, producers should have called emergency meetings, and someone, anyone, should have asked, why is this being aired? But instead, it was left in. Not as a red flag, but as a featured quote, packaged into a GB news montage and offered up as just another quirky moment of British public opinion. But it wasn't quirky. It wasn't harmless. That clip was a quiet confession, a whisper of an ancient sickness, because those 3 words didn't emerge from a vacuum. They came from the mouth of someone shaped by the same society that teaches you the queen is your national grandmother, the palace is your pride, and that royalty is, above all, white. That's the unspoken curriculum in British classrooms and living rooms alike. It's just genetic, they said. And in that instant, the illusion shattered. Let's unpack what genetic really means here, because no one is talking about DNA, no one is referring to biological traits or inherited chromosomes. That word, genetic, is a code, a euphemism for permanence, a quiet way of saying we don't want to change. It's the language of surrender dressed up as fact. It's how people avoid accountability. It's how they excuse bias while pretending they're simply observing nature. If it's genetic, you don't have to confront it. If it's genetic, you don't have to reflect. You just nod, look away, and carry on waving your Union Jack. That word became a shield for a royal family that has never, not once, faced meaningful consequences for its colonial past or its racist present. And that same shield was held up when Meghan Sussex dared to walk through palace gates and challenge the narrative with nothing but her presence. It's the same mindset that allowed silence to fester when Meghan revealed that members of the family discussed what color her baby might be. Think about that. A woman carrying a child sitting among supposed family, and instead of love or celebration, she gets speculation. Not about names or dreams or possibilities, but skin tone. That's not concern. That's control. That's the policing of appearance. That's the monarchy whispering, how far from white is too far? And when Meghan spoke those words during the Oprah interview, the world gasped. But Britain barely flinched. Because for many, the shock wasn't that it happened, it was that she dared to say it. That's why genetic is so dangerous. It doesn't just deny racism, it sanitizes it. It wraps exclusion in the warm language of inevitability. It's the same mindset that allowed British tabloids to publish a cartoon of Meghan as a chimpanzee, and then claim it was satire. The same media that would write glowing pieces about Kate's pregnancy glow while accusing Meghan of touching her bump too much, as if even her gestures were offensive. The media's obsession with Meghan wasn't casual. It was targeted. It was feral. It was organized. And it was all rooted in a deep discomfort with seeing someone who looked like Meghan, confident, outspoken, biracial, occupy a space that had long been seen as the private reserve of whiteness. But here's the thing, that comment, "it's just genetic," didn't expose Meghan. It exposed Britain. It exposed a royal institution terrified of change, a monarchy that still wants its heirs to be porcelain-skinned, its weddings to look like 1952, and its traditions to remain untouched by reality. Meghan was a disruption to that, not because she caused drama, but because she embodied difference. And in that family, difference is danger. Her Americanness, her blackness, her independence, her refusal to be silent, each one a strike against her. And from the moment she walked down the aisle, they were preparing the exit plan. The headlines came fast, vicious, and relentless. Meghan made Kate cry. Meghan is difficult. Meghan is breaking royal protocol by holding Harry's hand. Holding his hand. That's the level of scrutiny she endured. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew's friendship with a convicted sex offender barely moved the needle in the same press. That's the hypocrisy. That's the sickness. A Duchess of Color was held to a standard no one else in the family was. And when the pressure became unbearable, when her mental health began to fray, what did the palace do? Nothing. No public support. No behind-the-scenes help. Just silence. Because to defend her would be to admit something was wrong. And the monarchy does not admit wrong. It buries it. That's why the media aired that street clip. They didn't think twice about "it's just genetic," because deep down, they agreed. They wouldn't say it aloud. They'd dress it up in discussions about tradition and duty and continuity, but the message is the same. The monarchy must remain white in image, if not by law. That's why Meghan was a problem, not because of who she is, but because of what she represents. Progress, change, a crack in the mirror, and for an institution built on illusion, that crack was too much to bear. But what makes British racism especially insidious is its subtlety, its politeness. It doesn't come wearing hoods and screaming slurs. It comes dressed in tailored suits, behind manicured smiles, and printed on the front page of respectable newspapers. It's the quiet whisper in Buckingham Palace corridors. It's the senior aide telling Meghan not to wear color so she doesn't overshadow the Queen. It's the royal rota journalists who claim neutrality while running smear campaigns. It's the orchestrated silence from within, designed to protect the institution, no matter who bleeds in the process. And while the public watched this unfold, many refused to see it. Instead, they asked, why didn't Meghan just follow the rules? But no one ever asked who wrote those rules. No one questioned why only one duchess was expected to change herself to fit the crown, while the crown never bent an inch to embrace her. The public who cheered the royal wedding turned cold overnight. Not because Meghan changed, but because the press told them she was trouble, over and over again, until they believed it. And that clip of the woman on the street wasn't an outlier, it was a mirror, a reflection of what too many still believe, that the royal family isn't just white by chance, it must remain white by design. That's the rot at the heart of the institution. And Meghan? She peeled back the curtain. She refused to play the quiet, obedient role they had cast for her. She refused to pretend everything was fine while she was drowning inside a palace with golden gates and no compassion. And for that, they labeled her a threat. But she survived. And not only did she survive, she left with her head high. She found freedom in California. She found her voice again. She spoke truths that the palace wanted buried. She opened the door for others to question the untouchable. And no matter how much they try to smear her now, the damage is done, not to Meghan but to the fantasy. Because we've seen behind the curtain, we've heard the truth, and we're not going back. So the next time someone says, it's just genetic, ask them what they mean. Ask them why the monarchy still makes them feel proud. Ask them if they've ever wondered what it feels like to be the only person of color in a palace full of tradition but empty of warmth. Ask them if they really think it's okay that a woman was driven to the edge and told to smile through it for the sake of an outdated fairy tale. Meghan deserved better. We all do. And now, thanks to her courage, we know we can demand it. Because history only changes when someone dares to speak, even when the world begs for silence. Meghan Sussex dared, and for that, she'll always be royal in the truest sense, not because of her title, but because of her strength.